Hi, today we're going to talk about property price escalation in Portugal. What are the reasons and should this trend continue? What should you expect? See this video until the end and you have a pretty clear view of the market. Welcome back. If you don't know me, I've been a finance guy for a long time and half of that in real estate. I found a development company in Portugal which has been active for 8 years. Look, only for 24 prices are up 15% and first quarter 25 is up 5%. If you turn on the TV, there is news all over the place about housing problem. People is angry and protesting on the streets. And politicians are debating for solutions. But why our prices are going up so much and so fast? Let's start by the most controversial but undeniable factor. Immigration has been huge for a couple of years. Look at this chart. Only in 24, there were 250,000 people coming to live in this country. We're talking about a need of more than 80,000 homes only to accommodate last year's immigration. Combine that with 3,000 weddings and 20,000 divorces per year, we have a potential demand of about 130,000 homes for 24 alone. But that demand is not a problem. We are constructing a lot, right? Of course not. Look at this other chart. At best, Portugal is reaching around 40,000 new homes per year by now. It could be literally years before Portugal reach anywhere near 130,000 homes. Most of the reasons why we cannot construct more, I know from everyday experience as a developer. Licenses take its ages, the code is very restricted and not in favor of quantity. Your approval depends on the opinion of that specific official appointed to your case. You could get approval with one and rejection with another. There's almost zero chance to approve a rising building because increasing density requires a new city code ruling. It's very hard to add footage in big cities with the current code, and I don't see any changes going forward. Add that there is not much land available. The big cities are not that big really, so places like Lisbon and Porto have already almost no land available. I foresee that these cities to be only for the wealth that can afford expensive homes. When you finally get approval, there is a shortage of construction companies because they have a shortage of qualified workers. It's very difficult to find workers. As education levels increase, less people are willing to do physical labor. There is no evidence that this will get better going ahead. In this entire complicated scenario for construction with the demand heightened by immigration, the government decides, maybe without knowing, to put gasoline on the fire. I'm talking about incentives to buy. As young people of this country have such a hard time buying a first home, government, in what I consider a sincere effort, made incentives for young people to buy. If you are 35 years old or less, you can buy with no down payment, exempt from taxes, and with a government guarantee. Only in the first months of the program, 20,000 deals were made. In other words, the program sold about 50% of the construction capacity for the year in a couple of months. Imagine that a system that is already in distress receives another batch of buyers. It's highly inflationary for property prices. And last but not the least, let's talk about falling interest rates. Europe has been not that great in terms of growth, which has been less than 1% for the last 2 years. But inflation is under control, going towards the 2% target very, very soon. Interest rate has a huge impact in the demand. Falling interest rates makes easier to buy property that is more expensive. From the recent high to the current level, installments got 40% less expensive. With the same earnings, a family can buy a home which is 67% more expensive right now. Also a very inflationary factor. The market affords more, then respond with higher prices, as there is so much people wanting to buy a house with so little houses to buy. Which comes to the hard question: how long we are going to experience in this market? I don't pretend to know exact, but I know with high confidence that immigration, I don't think 24 will repeat for a long time, as the government is closing some doors, but it's still going. A safe and democratic country that receives people very well with good weather, infrastructure and health system is very, very attractive. Marriage continues to be the normal path for the average citizen, so expect a very stable figure for marriages and divorces. Construction increase is very slow. Remember the problems: slow licensing, shortage of land and workers. It's going to take years to construct to meet this level of demand. Europe has no indication of a path for inflation increase, so we can see interest rates maintaining this level for at least a couple of years. People will still be able to buy more expensive homes. Lisbon right now has the same price of Madrid and Barcelona, which I think is fair. Porto is cheaper, having prices as low as Eastern Europe, which, by the way, I don't think is fair. This is important, as big cities such as Lisbon and Porto have prices dictated by wealthy immigrants, unfortunately leaving the average Portuguese consumer out of these markets. Without that, I'm confident that property prices are still in an upward trend, probably as not as strong as before, but my bet is for prices increases for some quarters ahead. After that, I really don't know, but I'm sure to monitor these 4 drivers. If you're thinking about buying, my opinion is that if you wait, you will probably pay more. If you are considering buying for price appreciation, it's also my opinion that it's going to be positive. That's it for today. Are you considering buying right now? Do you think it's a good moment? Please let me know in the comments. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. If you want to know more about properties and all things Portugal, please subscribe and hit the bell. I wish you good health and wisdom. Thanks for watching. Ciao!